that great song by the Dixie Chicks about everybody giving up on love because it became so hard. And yet nobody really wanted to give up on it.
People like to pretend that women in midlife are not sexual beings, and I'm like really down with that idea.
Well, I think the myth about older women and older men is that we lose our sexual drive and we lose desire.
Older men think women are not sexually active, and women don't boast the way that men do. So I think older women have been sexually active, kind of keep it to themselves.
You know, we have a certain wisdom, we have a certain understanding of who we are as people.
I'm not sure it gets easier when you get older. You have other concerns, like bodies.
You know, you're having sex even in the nursing home. I mean, you know, you may be 90, and it's still a possibility.
We're living with what I believe is a false notion, is that there is a single person who can sustain us through love and sexuality for 50 or 60 years. There is a small group of people who can do that. For the rest of us, we seem to be better at serial monogamy.
I think we know we're at risk, but we don't like to think about it.
It's uncomfortable to talk about sex.
Being newly divorced or separated and hitting the dating scene again, you know, when you don't want to talk about using a condom to whoever it is that you're with.
Education is power, knowledge is power. Understanding the risk are important because then you have choices.
Maybe I've been married altogether perhaps 20 years, right? And so I've had to just grow a new life each time. That's what I would say. So when I was younger, there was a lot more insecurity about growing a new life and a new self. And this time around, I'm less concerned about things than I was when I was a younger woman.
So I was married for 23 years. My husband was born in Brazil. And that was where I lived when my daughter was born, but we moved to the United States when she was 2 years old. You know, it was a really great, very alive, very loving family life. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. We have 10 kids between us. It was a blast of boating and skiing and birthday parties and Christmases and Thanksgiving. It was a very rich family life. I felt like I didn't really understand how we lost each other. And I also felt like there were forces operating in our lives that were bigger than us. I have a friend who calls this the dark matter in our lives.
I was very promiscuous as a little girl, and because I had a lot of problems that just really were undiagnosed and I didn't get help for. And eventually I started to self-medicate with drugs, and that basically kind of took a lifeline on its own. I was 20-something years old. I had already been actively using and really strung out by this time. And when we met, it was like bells went off, you know, love at first sight type of thing. I loved him, and I was in desperate need of somebody loving me. You know what I mean? And I was willing to do anything for that.
I've been separated and divorced forever, it seems, over 20 years now. But at the very beginning, I was very eager to put one man between me and marriage. I've also lowered my expectations in terms of finding a great romantic partner. I'd like that, but I'd also like people to do things with, people to learn from, people to sympathize with or share their experiences. So it's changed from where is the knight on the white horse, the knight in shining armor, to what can I learn? Who seems like fun?
I was with my husband for a lot of years. And then we broke up for a little while. And then I had an unfortunate situation in my life, and he walked back into my life. And he was my husband. He was my first love. So I didn't think of what he did or what he didn't do. I just thought of I was hurting, and he was there. He knew that he was positive, but he never told me that he was positive. The health center they used at the time put on these safe sex parties. And I went to that party, and some of the descriptions that were on the form as signs of, something might be wrong. One of them was if you had a white coating on your tongue. So, I went in the mirror and I'm like looking, and sure enough, I had that. So when I went back to my doctor, I said, well, you ran every test that there is to run. Can you do an HIV on me? And he laughed at me, and he said, Linda, get out of here. You're a hypochondriac. Everything's wrong with you. And I said, no. He said, Linda, you don't do drugs, so why would, I said, yeah, but my husband was an IV drug user, and I just recently found that out, and I slept with him. He's my husband. And sure enough, he called me on June 10th, on my 36th birthday, and said, Linda, your test came back HIV positive. Can you come in tomorrow? And I just was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't want to tell anybody.
There's not too many spaces left.
This year will be my 8th year of running the women's conference. It's called This Could Never Happen to Me. And it's to help women know their status.
Have a good day.
What got me started was when I got tested, like 19 years ago. Women were a thing of the past. They didn't really know what to do with us.
Followed by white heterosexual women. And then, how are we doing, ladies?